topic that we're about to discuss is so important, it's so critical to the survival of our inner city here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm doing a series on YouTube called Urban Testimony, and I'm just reaching out to common people. And maybe I've been a little prejudiced in thinking that there is a problem here in Kansas City. So I'm just going to ask you, do you see a problem with anything here in Kansas City, Missouri?
Yeah, I see a lot of things wrong with Kansas City. Me personally, a lot of the parents lose control of their children early, or they don't try, or they pass their buck to somebody else. I mean, I see it on a regular basis where kids don't listen to their parents, for one, and it's like whatever, and parents just go with the flow as long as they can pass the buck off to somebody else.
And what's the result of passing the buck?
Well, look at the streets.
Okay.
Speak for itself. If you're always passing off a kid to somebody else and he's passing off and passing off, time is constantly going, so technically it doesn't matter, because most parents don't want you to touch their children, or they don't want you to tell their children nothing. But if something happens to their children, the first thing they're going to say is, why come you didn't look out for me? We're going to be better than that. Well, my thought is, if I can't discipline your kid, how can I tell your kid what to do?
Right. That's a very good point. And the lack of discipline, signs of it are evident early. So how do we go about hitting off at the past? Even in the situations where you see that the parent, I'm not going to say doesn't care, but they may or may not have the time because they're busy trying to provide for that child. So what do we do?
Well, my thought is, everybody always wants to put their children in sports. Everybody doesn't play sports. Me personally, I've always loved sports, but I've always wanted to be a chef growing up as a kid. I know some people might need to find other things in other outlets, some find out a program, or see if you can bring somebody in that whatever. Like at a boys club or at a church, maybe a chef comes up there once or twice a week until the kid's old enough to get into something, or like ballet or film or directing or whatever he likes. Everybody needs to find maybe a person that they know, like once a week. He can come once every 2 weeks. If you get a person that you know that comes once here, like I'm a barber, I can come somewhere like once every 2 weeks to show them, and somebody's a fireman or something, they can come in and explain to them and give them something to do other than rap and sports and everything else. Everybody don't play sports, and everybody's not a rapper, so I think we need to basically deal with the realism of what the kids like to find out.
So we need to kind of broaden their horizons as opposed to just funneling them into only 2 or 3 possible career choices and everything else has to be crime, right?
Exactly. I mean, how you look at it is, put it like this here. I volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club off of Truce Midtown on 39th and Truce. And then I went over to 43rd. I heard a young lady ask, out of 25 kids, how many of you guys have a PlayStation or Nintendo? Everybody raised their hand. How many of you guys go to the library and pick up a book with your parents, or just go and hang out and just read? 3 people raised their hands. So you figured that out.
So the PlayStation, the Nintendo, the television period has become the babysitter.
Exactly.
Okay, now we discussed some of the problems at the earlier age, but is crime just exclusive to youngsters?
No, it's not exclusive to youngsters. To me, crime is wrong place, wrong time. Sometimes crime is a necessity that you need to go get for your family, or things that you need. Me personally, I think that people do things for a reason. A lot of times, kids think it's cool to hang out with certain kids and be in a so-called in crowd, and them not knowing the magnitude of what might happen. They might just hang out with somebody, and somebody might throw a brick through a window, and all of a sudden now you got larceny charges or tearing up somebody's property. And the other kid was just walking down the street with him because he told him they was going to McDonald's or something, and not realizing he don't want to be a snitch. But my thought is, what's a snitch? A snitch is a person who tells on the person to save their own behind. My thought is, if you're in your community and you saving your community, that's not snitching to me. It's called looking out for yours. You winging out the bad, so-called. Maybe you might be the person that helped that kid throwing bricks and get him in trouble now to do 2 or 3 months in juvenile detention and stop saving him later for robbing something later in life.
Right.
A little trouble smack on the hand now beats a throw beat down later.
So how do you reach out to the people who have carried over from just throwing rocks at passing cars and breaking windows, and now they're into stabbing, armed robbery, and homicide? How do you reach out to those who have gotten to that point? Do you just turn your back on them and say they're no good and just concentrate on the youth? Or is there rehabilitation for them?
There's a rehabilitation for them. Me personally, you need to find out who, what, where, when, and why they went off the path. Find out some of the things that they liked. Find out some of the things that they could have done different, and use them to be mentors to kids who are on that path. Because a lot of them see things differently now since they crossed the fence, that they can help somebody else that's coming up to the fence.
Right. So how many people do you think can get to know themselves to that point where not only are they bettering themselves, but they're keeping people from going down the wrong path?
Well, me personally, I know quite a few people. I hung out with some people they've done things differently than me. Like I said, I've always been into sports, and when I got done with sports, by me growing up with kids, as in the neighborhoods, as you get older, you just kind of venture, or you kind of hold on to your friends, your so-called friends, because as you get older, like you always was told, like my grandfather told me, cows and chickens don't hang out.
Right.
And I never did understand that. If I play sports and you rob people, what do we have in common?
I just feel like if every person just had that one person that they felt like really cared, and not just wanted to be in your business, so to speak, but wanted you to tell them what was going on with you because they genuinely cared, I think that would do a lot to promote, I guess, a healthier environmental upbringing than the one we're seeing now. Because too many people are dedicated to people who aren't on the straight and narrow, but they just want to show their loyalty and they don't care what they're showing loyalty to, whether it's on the right or the wrong side of the law. And I don't feel like that's right.
Well, me personally, I think that a lot of people look at things in different aspects and manners. So technically, a lot of people, they need the person that says, you messed up.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Everybody mess up. It's what you do after you mess up. I mean, if you threw a rock and you hit Miss Jones's window, don't run, don't hide. Be a man about it. Miss Jones, I broke your window. I'm sorry. Either I can rake up or cut your grass or shovel your snow for so many times until I can pay it off or whatever. But just fess up about it. I mean, if we can learn to stand up for our deeds, good or bad, just remember, no matter which way it goes, you can look in the mirror. Somebody always will pat you on your back. You might not see it today or tomorrow, but as you get older, you hear old folks say, "Man, when you was a kid, you was a good kid. You made some mistakes or whatever." All your genuine blessings don't always come now.
Right.
You're just sowing your seeds now. You know, and regardlessly, you always have a person with you, whether how spiritual you are or not. If you Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Catholic, or whatever you, if there's a time and a place that you're not for sure, get on your knees and pray about it. But whoever it might be to you, focus, pray about it, and keep moving. I mean, trust me, when you sow your seeds, it'll come back for tenfold.
Hey, that's good advice, man. I'm going to go ahead and head on out. I do appreciate you letting me come to your establishment here and take a few minutes with you. And hopefully that the message that you just sent out will reach somebody and touch them. If not to help somebody else, but to get help for themselves. So is there anything you'd like to say important?
Yeah, I mean, to every situation, there's a solution. I mean, just because it rains today, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean nothing later. Every time it rains, it snows, you hear people complaining, not realizing when the summertime comes, all the green, everything you see is from what God put down. So everything you do, whether good or bad, is going to come back. You know, my personal belief, you know, by me being a Christian man and all, I read different things. There's karma in everything you do. And the only thing different that I learned is when you do karma deliberately to hurt somebody or deceive somebody, it comes back on you. But if you do something to hurt somebody intentionally, it really doesn't come back on you. But you just need to ask for forgiveness whatever you do. Instead of you robbing somebody, their car, or breaking in there, they might have something for you to do. They might want you to clean out their garage, break some leaves. My thought is that you're going to break somebody's car window, $200, steal their radio, which cost him $200, but you're only getting $30 on the street. Well, technically, he could have had $50 or $60 worth of work around his house for you to do.
Right.
My thought is, before you do, always ask. You'd be surprised what a person might do or know somebody that might know somebody for something for you to do.
Okay, my man. Well, I sure appreciate your time. Get on out and just keep carrying on the message, and I appreciate it.